What do you think about the idea of your being a virtuoso painter? Is that really an unpleasant idea?
Whoa.
First of all, what does it mean, right?
Well, virtuoso is it's a dangerous term because it's sort of like when I think of Picasso, I think of him as a virtuoso painter. And then I think of Brock, and at the end of the day, Brock is more interesting in some way because there's a live thing going on.
More earnest, more absolute, more real.
It's strangely deeper.
You are actually one of the more earnest painters I've ever known, because while the works are enormously sensuous and appealing, still there's not immediate likability to your work. It has to be entered slowly, and I assume you work it that way.
That's true. It's probably, I work it that way because that's who I am, or something like that. I mean, that sounds ridiculous.
No, I dare say.
In a way, there's an aggression and a sort of softness, I suppose. You know, kind of...
it's a nice paradox.
Yeah.
Soft aggressiveness.
Yeah, well...
But actually, it's a terrific way to characterize your pictures, because that is what they're like. I mean, they're really raw. At the same time, they're enormously sensuous and likable. They put you off and they pull you in.
Yeah, I guess there's some intent there, because I think that the beauty in a painting is what draws a person in, and then sometimes they're hit in the head after they've been pulled in. But if you can't pull them in, then it's not working. You know, if it's all aggression, people repel. You know, so
I'm sure. I notice in almost every picture. In fact, I've never known you to paint a picture where there were not these little grace notes, these beautiful little innocent spots of pure color, so enjoyable. But then those are usually corrected, if that's the term, by some really difficult painting.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes they're there initially as a kind of a symbol of where the painting might go, or a piece of color that I might use later, or that I'm thinking about, or...
You're the only person I know, the only painter I know, with possibly the exception of Suzanne Hill, who's standing right behind us here, who uses the pictures almost as a workshop. I mean, the painting itself becomes almost like a workshop.
Well,
or a palette.
Well, in Susanna's work, there's a fantastic authenticity, I think, spirit and nature-based, you know, which is very difficult in abstract painting.
But you know what I mean by using your own work as a palette? It's a very odd idea, but there's the picture, and you actually feed upon it.
Yeah, that's right. I don't even use a sort of conventional palette. Like, I don't have a glass table where I scrape things and do all that.
No.
Basically, I use like vegetable trays and just put the color out I want, and then I try not to see what else I've got, you know.
And we were just discussing a few minutes ago how you tend to not be the kind of painter who works from beginning right through to the end of the picture. You tend to work simultaneously on many works at the same time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Well, there's certain pragmatic reasons, I guess, because there's a sort of notion that you have to wait for it to dry, so you're always kind of standing around going crazy. and so if you have more than one, and also I can mix a color that doesn't make sense to me after I've mixed it, and then I walk over to another painting where it actually makes sense. So and they come to life through waiting in a weird way. You know, like something happens and I can't figure it out. I'll put it away for 3 weeks or whatever. And sometimes it's a month or more that I don't look at it again. I just think it's either at a point where it has a lot going on, but the magic isn't there. You know, there's something, all the technical aspects of it kind of resolved, but it doesn't have anything happening. You know?
But at that point, what is your task then? To throw it away, or to try to infuse it with magic by willpower?
By willpower, but or happenstance, I suppose. Just waiting and finding the right day, and the right thing just hits me, and then I kind of know what I have to do. And sometimes that takes a long, long time.
I take it you're one of those painters who will not let a painting die. I mean, you'll probably do anything to bring it back to life.
No,
right?
There's a sort of practical reasoning, I suppose, because and it's all its own history. It would be like, in some way, like throwing away pages in a diary. You know, it needs to be in there. And even though it might be heavily worked, there's always a sort of scar tissue of its own history in the work. And if you don't have that, then you know it's like some people might make a painting that's really thick, but they'll put plaster on first or something and then paint it to look artificially thick. Well, to me that defeats the whole idea, because history of the painting is all the rethinking and
1,000 decisions.
yeah, and the indecisions, you know, the kind of things that didn't work.
Yeah.
But seemed like a good idea at the time, you know. So, and it's incredibly humbling because you don't really know where you're going. It's a very intuitive thing, you know.
Wonderful.
So,
Thanks, sir. Perfect.